Hey, y'all.
Hola, welcome to 30 Minutes Down South. She's Allison.
And he's Carlos, and we are two top producing realtors.
With two extremely different Southern upbringings.
Join us each week as we explore the Lake Murray area with our special guests.
Welcome, Allison.
Hey, Carlos. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year 2024 to you and to everybody that is listening. You thought that 2023 was the end of us, and you're not gonna listen to us or have to watch us anymore. Well, you were wrong. Here we are.
made it.
We made it. We made it to 2024, and we're looking forward to a full year of a lot of stuff. Where are you looking forward in 2024?
2024 is going to be an interesting year. There's a lot happening in the real estate world, the mortgage world, the politic world.
Well, I couldn't care less about politics.
I'm just saying it's going to be an interesting year.
You know, people give a lot of weight to politics, and the truth is, you know, that our day-to-day life, there's a lot of things that happen over there that we can't control. I mean, we had our share of local
politicians.
Yeah, well, you know, local politicians here, you know, and those are the ones that really matter to us. And those are the ones that we can have a conversation with and express our ideas or take ideas from them. And we're going to have some more of those guests during our year. What else? What's your next goal?
My next goal for this year? Gosh.
Something that you can control. Something that you put yourself into it.
So I really want to try and be a better version of me. But
is that possible?
Simplify. Simplify is kind of my word for the year.
Simplify.
Yes.
I like that.
I feel like we are so distracted, and you called me out on it earlier today as we were trying to have a conversation. I feel like I'm so distracted, as we all are in our daily lives, that I'm really wanting to just simplify things. And I read something today that was saying, you know, choose to be happy, not happy about, you know, what you're going to have and what you're going to do, but just happy in the moment.
Okay.
And I think a lot of that comes in simplifying our lives so that we can find happiness in the here and now.
So what you're trying to do is focusing more on certain things rather than trying to go wide, cast a wide net?
Yeah, I mean, focusing on, you know, blessings that we have now and being able to enjoy them instead of always looking for the next thing and what are we going to do next week and what are we going to do next month, but just enjoying today more.
Well, I know where I was going.
It was kind of deep, wasn't it?
It was Deepak Chopra.
You asked.
Well, you know, I have you know, the one thing I always ask in New Year's is health. You know, health for me, health for everybody that I know, health for all my families, and you know, like trying to. But anyway, who do we have today?
Well, we have Todd Howell.
Okay, do you know Todd?
I did not know Todd. I did not. This was your guest, your choice for the day, but I'm excited to hear what he has to say as we talk about the world of flooring.
Yeah, and I figured that for the first guest of the year, it would be appropriate to start from the floor.
Start from the
ground
floor.
up.
That's
ground
right.
up, right?
Well, kind of. Let's hope you hope your floor isn't sitting on the ground.
All right, and welcome, Todd Howell. How you doing, Todd?
Doing good, Carlos.
Hey, Todd, thanks so much for being on with us today. You're our first guest of the new year.
Yeah, you're setting up the floor.
Nice.
Talking about floor, Todd, tell us about your company. When did you start? What do you do? Give everybody that doesn't know you, which is only 2 or 3 people in this area, a little background about you.
The flooring industry is a unique industry anyway. Name is Todd Howell. I'm the owner of Howell Hardwood Flooring. Been in the flooring industry since 1988. Started my business in 2004. It was just a calling for me to do it as a business on my own. I was with Southeastern Freight Lines for right at 11, almost 12 years. And I actually dove into full-time with the flooring business when the economy tanked in 2008, 2009. the floor sanding industry, it's a unique industry in its own. Not a lot of us out here doing it. We stay very busy. It's weird. Don't have a lot of young people that really want to dive into the industry. So it's a dying trade. So being in my 50s, I'm still heavily active in doing the work myself. I'm currently sitting in my box truck while the boys are in there coating the floor. So
did you say the floor sanding industry?
Yes. Right now we've got, being in real estate, you guys know, you've got your LVPs, your pre-finished floors, your engineered floors, all these stuff that come, pretty much ready-made, and they go down and they're finished. Well, you've got all these houses that were built. I don't know. You've got houses that are 200 plus years old that have real, true hardwood floors in there. And at some point in time, these floors need to be resanded and refinished, stained. People updating homes, tearing down walls. You got to be able to patch them in, with the proper material.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the
a lot of aspects.
And Todd, and that's one of the advantages of hardwood floors, right? Compared to LVPs or engineered hardwoods that you cannot.
100%. Just personally, I'm not a huge fan of the engineers. I know when you have a house that's on a concrete slab, you're kind of limited to what you can do. So the LVPs and the engineers work great. There's the advantages of a sand and finish floor. We can pull up and patch and resand, a solid floor. Like I say, I sanded a plantation home out in Winsboro. It was, he's actually on the historic registry. It's almost a 200-year-old plantation home with, original heart pine floors. And we're going in there and you can get reclaimed wood and patch it and refinish it and make it like it always happened that way. That's
pretty awesome. I have hardwoods in my house and they've needed refinishing for 10 years. So I may be giving you a call.
If you don't like me, I can get you a good guy.
Well, I was talking with a friend of mine who actually just purchased, a flooring company, and they don't do hardwoods, but he said, why don't you just go over it with LVP? And I looked at him like he was crazy because I guess I'm old school. I was born and raised in South Carolina. My aunt has a plantation home. And I said, what? Seriously? Like put vinyl over my hardwoods? And he was like, oh yeah. And I said, never gonna happen. Not that I'm against vinyl, but
right.
To come in over hardwoods, I just couldn't do it.
Yeah. My personal opinion of that, it's the LVPs and the engineers, especially the LVPs being a floating floor, they can lay over the top of them. I'm not a fan. I know they're very durable. They're water resistant. You can do them in bathrooms, kitchens. It does have its advantages. It's a clean look, but you will never get the true look of a hardwood floor with a plastic product. It's just not possible. Like I say, they do have its advantages. I know a lot of people, and I do a lot of LVPs myself. They'll do them in rentals because they're durable. They're easily replaceable. I don't really care for, someone, and I do a lot of upscale custom homes, 3, 4, 5,000 square foot homes. And I see people putting LVP in those, and it really it almost hurts my feelings because I'm like, it's just a cheap way out.
What is the price difference, Todd, between a top of the line LVP and a hardwood floor?
It's probably close to double, probably not quite double. Mm-hmm. The process in a sand and finish floor is, you have to put it down and you have to sand and finish. You can't have other contractors on there. There's dry time for polyurethanes. So there are some disadvantages just from a timing standpoint, to go with the real hardwood floor. But for me, you can't beat them though. I can forever patch them, forever touch them up. With LVP, if you scratch it or damage it, there's no fixing it. It has to come up and be replaced.
So what is the longevity? I know it all depends on, the product. Are you looking at the cheapest product you can go find or top of line? But what would you say longevity of a mid to top grade LVP is? over, lifespan.
And for those who don't know
LVPs,
yeah, luxury vinyl plank.
Yeah, because, I mean, like you were saying, I think they're great for rentals, investment properties, even, slabs. But just curious, like if I'm building a custom home that I'm planning on staying in, what would you do? Would you pay twice the cost for the hardwoods?
I mean, I 100%. I know I would.
Yeah.
I mean, I just cheap is cheap. You get what you pay for. I mean, that's the old saying. I mean, and it stands true.
So for you, there is still a huge gap in quality and feel between the LVPs and hardwoods.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Are they still using a lot of the engineered flooring, or is it kind of become more obsolete?
If they're going engineered, they tend to be going ahead and going with LVP because the LVP is cheaper than the engineered.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're on a concrete slab, an LVP floor is floating, so it does move a little bit. Whereas an engineered, you glue it down on concrete, or nail it down, on a subfloor. But yeah, I don't, from LVP standpoint, I don't see a lot of engineered anymore. And I might be wrong in that, but I'm in a sand and finish market. I don't even look at a lot of engineered floors.
Yeah. And in that particular thought process, where do you see the industry in 5 years? Is the hardwoods less and less and less common to find?
I don't think you're going to find it less and less to find. I think you're going to find the people that are in the industry of sand and finish work. If we don't get some young employees that want to take it on, you're going to see the trade die, and they won't have no choice but to go the other way.
Oh, I see. And that's one of the problems that you and I were talking behind cameras, that labor has been an issue for you. How many employees do you currently have, and how many openings do you currently have?
Right now, I currently have 5, which is, I mean, that's a lot for the industry. Most of your sand and finish guys are running around. It's a father-son team or 2 friends doing it that don't want employees. That don't want to, that don't want to grow. With me having 5, I'm able to do, some larger projects. Some of my projects, I've done the governor's mansion when Governor Haley moved out before Mr. McMaster moved in.
What was the weirdest stain that you found in that project?
Do what now?
The weirdest stain.
Weirdest stain?
Yeah.
What is the... well, I saw the skeleton of a lizard behind a picture on the mantle that I wish it could have talked. How about that? I've got a picture of that on my phone. I'll show it to you.
Oh, really? You gotta send it to us now. So that's a cool project, Todd. So you refinish all the hardwoods from the governor's mansion. What other cool projects do you have in your belt?
I've done the Sunoco plant in Hartsville.
Mm-hmm.
The president's boardroom. Oh gosh, Carlos. I mean, there's a lot that I can't even remember.
All right, I know that Allison is gonna like this answer. What is the oldest floor you have put your hands on?
The oldest floor I put my hands on.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the plantation home that I talked about.
Okay. How old?
It was 200-year-old heart pine. And it had been painted. It had never been sanded before, and it had been painted. I'm gonna call it Confederate gray. Probably 5 or 6 times.
Oh, wow. They'd painted the floor.
I'm sorry? Go ahead.
They had painted the floor.
They just painted the floor. And the man wanted to take it back down to true heart pine. He met me at the home show years ago. And to give you an idea, there were probably 4 or 5 pre-finished vendors at the home show. I was the only one set up as a hardwood floor sanding vendor. And every time they had a sand and finish question, every single one of those vendors that sold pre-finished would walk the customer over to me, and I took the customer from them, and they never looked back. It's just a unique industry, but that was where Mr. Chappell, I'm sorry I said a name, but I won't say his first name. He was walked over to me and was talking to me about his floor, and I was explaining to him, how you sanded and what you needed to do, because in that old plantation home, it was very unlevel. Really cool floor, really cool layout. West London. Sorry, one of my guys just looking at me. I'll see you over in a little bit, Devin. I was telling him how you had to sand over ridges because you can't go in and create, something that's broken underneath the house or settling. And he was just, he said, I don't even have to get a bid from you. When can you come look at it? I want you to do it because you're telling me how to sand my floor. You're telling me how I want my floor sanded before I even tell you how I want my floor sanded. He said, and you're spot on. It's just attention to detail, but it was really cool. And then he's called me back twice.
Yeah.
They did a big add-on to a master bathroom add-on upstairs and 2 bathrooms downstairs for the bedrooms downstairs. And we actually found some recovered heart pine and matched his floor perfect. And it just that's one of the coolest ones. And they've sent me, my business is all referral. I mean, I don't advertise. My name's nowhere. My number's nowhere. If you know me, you can find it on Facebook or Instagram.
Well, it's gonna be now. It's gonna be on our Facebook page and it's gonna be in our social media.
Do what?
Now it's gonna be with us.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna share that. But so that qualifies as the most difficult job you ever had, or there is other that you can't remember that you can share.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, the difficult jobs is when you go in, like we're over here now. We're in a rental home that's been 100% neglected with cat urine, pet stains and stuff like that. You sand it. There's dark stains in the floor. The floor is super unlevel. There's patchwork that doesn't match. Those are the more difficult jobs. Just because I'm picky. Of course, I'm entitled to our faults. We mess up all the time. Try to keep it to a minimum. But the sand and finish floor it's an imperfect process, and they will never be perfect. You will always be able to find, stain being unlevel somewhere, or your finish not being completely flowed level because we're putting it on with an 18-inch lamb's wool mop. It's an imperfect, it's an imperfect process done by a person. It's not a factory finish ran through machine, where those finishes, are completely smooth. But being picky in an older home is hard because you have to know that the stains are going to be there, the boards are going to be unlevel. It's not a pretty sight, but they want it sand and finished so they can have a tenant in.
And it will not be perfect, but you're trying to get that perfection out of the floor. But I think that's part of the beauty of hardwood floors.
That's exactly right.
They have character.
They have character and they have differences. I'm a big fan of the looks of hardwood floors. I gotta say, I'm very happy with LVP myself, just because of the practicality, the price, and if you don't like the color one day, you can just replace it and get a new one. 5 years down the road, 6 years down the road, and still not.
But hold on. But when you go with a real hardwood floor, the price of tearing up your LVP and putting down new LVP is twice the price of me just refinishing your floor to give you a different color.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, now you hit it. Yeah, now you hit a button right there. So you can. Okay, okay, great. I love this because I'm learning something. So you can change, let's say, from a dark yellow to a gray.
Absolutely.
On hardwood floors?
Absolutely.
Now, does it depend on the type of wood to be able to do that? For example, really. I have cherry floors, and
pine doesn't take stain very well, but you don't see a lot of pine in houses. You see a lot of pine if people want to do want to build a new home to make it look like an older plantation home. They'll buy heart pine to put in that, knowing they want to go natural. Your oaks are what you would put down. That's your most cost effective to put down anyway, and you can stain it. Like 2 interesting homes. One was an interior designer. She wanted her floor white, and it was awesome. We actually went in and just lightly sanded her floor. It was a number 2 grade white oak 4-inch floor, and we didn't sand the floor flat. She wanted the imperfections. She wanted the edges unlevel but no splinters. When they run it through a mill, there's little chatter marks in it from the mill. She wanted those to shine through. So we went in and we stained her floor white. And then after we stained it white, we went back with our palm sanders and palm sanded the whole floor and created a very imperfect, a very unlevel look. And all the chatter marks and all showed back up. All the sanding marks showed back up. I mean, it was an amazing floor. And I mean, at first I hated it, and I mean, I used an expletive in her home, but when we were staying, I said, I'm not going to say it here, but I was like, I hate this with a passion. And the guys laughed because they would go, well, you can tell her because she's standing at the door back there. and she laughed. She goes, I heard that. And I was like, well, I'm just being honest. I don't like it. It's unlevel. It is what it is. And she goes, and she looked, and we went a little further, and she goes, okay, well, I like it. I was like, well, if you like it, then
that's all that matters.
I'll give you what you want.
Yeah.
And then the next day she called me. She goes, and now it's about 1,500, 2,000 square feet. And she goes, okay, I don't like it. And I'm like, and she goes, what can we do? So we went in and palm sanded it and created the evenness that you look for in stain, but left the imperfections in the floor, and it turned out extremely cool. Fast forward about 6 months, a friend of hers wanted to do the same thing in the kitchen, and she had her color picked out from Sherwin-Williams, which was Coastal Plains. And she goes, I want that color on my floor and do it like you did the home down in Shandon. And I was like, okay. So I went to Sherwin-Williams, and Minwax has a stain that you can tint like paint, and you have to go. I mean, it's a fickle stain to mess with. It's definitely not for an amateur. But we took the paint code and put it in the Minwax stain, and put the stain color on the floor and sanded it just like we did the one with white, and created a very rustic look with her paint color in a stain format.
Nice. You gotta send me some of those pictures.
That's when it got neat.
Yeah, I'd love to see some pictures of that.
You have to send me some of those pictures so we can put it on the YouTube version of this interview so people can take a look at what you're talking, because, you're doing a great job describing it, but I really want to see it.
Yeah, and I think when most people think of hardwood floors, they just think of the traditional oak stained floors.
The sky's the limit. Again, I've been doing it for years. I love the design part of this. I'm by far not an amateur in it. Been in it for a while. I've got a 20+ thousand square foot job in Greenville that's going to start soon. That's going real hardwood that they want.
20,000 square feet of hardwoods?
Yes.
Damn.
It must be a commercial project.
What is it?
Clearly.
It is. They're redoing the Peace Center in Greenville.
Okay.
And I've done, knowledge is power. It's the old saying of, no, I'm probably not the cheapest person in town. I'm by far not the most expensive person either. I need to lay my head down at night knowing that I give somebody a good product at a good value. But this is not for the faint at heart here. When you start getting into designs and, custom layouts and floors, different colors, the lady that I'm talking about that did the green floor, she had 2 people look at it that tell her that it couldn't be done. And then I was called, and the job in Greenville stemmed from a company that I do work for in town that I did the governor's mansion for. They had someone working in the Biltmore house up in Asheville, and it was a FaceTime call, and I asked them if I needed to ride up there because I'd have helped them, or whatever, but they needed the knowledge, and I'm by far not saying I'm the most knowledgeable person here, but when you're doing the sand and finish work, you have an attention to detail that I'm gonna say a normal floor guy that just puts down LVP or engineered, it's a different eye.
Yeah.
It's just a different market. All of your floor installers that do that, they call themselves floor guys. And they are. I'm not trying to take that away from them. But when somebody asks them about a sand and finish floor, they give them my number.
Yeah.
So and so I can do the installs, the LVPs, the engineers. I say me. I mean my guys.
Mm-hmm. Do you Todd? Do you do tile too?
I don't have time to do tile.
Okay,
I have been asked several times just because of the eye and the attention to detail, and I just don't. I don't want it. I don't want to do anything else. I've coated some concrete from a personal standpoint. I love that. I've done it for a couple people that just wanted me to do it. I've thought about getting into that, but because I've already got most of the equipment that it would take to really do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want anything else on my plate. I mean, I'm as busy as I can be doing just hardwood floors.
And since I got a revelation of why is hardwood better than LVPs, can you give me a quick summary comparison between, say, tile and hardwoods? Why would somebody prefer hardwoods over tile or vice versa?
That would be personal preference.
Okay.
You got a lot of people that don't want hardwoods in the kitchen because of grease and stains and stuff like that. It wipes up on tile. You've got a lot of people that do hardwoods in kitchen that want hardwoods in kitchen. Tile is by far much better in bathrooms because it's water resistant, yada, yada, yada. Hardwood is, it's a softer feel than tile when you're walking around. But those two go hand in hand for me.
Mm-hmm.
Tile in bathrooms, laundry room, tile in your kitchen if you want tile in your kitchen. But I prefer hardwoods in kitchen. I like the flow.
Cool.
Yep.
Well, we're officially on the 2-minute warning.
I've got more to say. No, I'm just kidding.
There's so much more to it than I really thought about it, and I did not even, I guess, wrap my head even after being in real estate as long as we have, that they're specific guy to call for sand and finish floors. So glad to know Carlos had a good contact for us and who to send people to now, including myself.
So, well, cool. Well, I mean, I'm there for y'all if you need me, of course. I mean, but it's a busy industry.
Mm-hmm.
Even with 5 employees, it's really busy.
Oh, and before we finish, you said that you're looking for 1 or 2 extra guys to join your team. Is that
yeah? When you want to start? If you have time for a podcast, I can work you.
Tomorrow morning.
Okay, 8 o'clock. Wait, I get up at 5 and go to yoga. When you want to start?
After yoga. No, well, Todd Howell, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for illustrate us a little bit about the world of flooring, and thank you for being our first guest of the year.
Absolutely, that was great.
I will definitely send you some pictures of some designs in those color floors, so y'all can post them.
Yeah, that would be good. Excellent. We appreciate it.
All right, bye, Todd.
No problem. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you. You too. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
Who knew that? I mean, when you said flooring guy, I'm thinking, all types of flooring. Who knew someone specialized?
He does all type of flooring. He does specialize in hardwoods because he loves that. And like he said, there's not many people specializing in hardwood.
Kind of a dying trade.
Well, with the explosion of these LVPs, and that's where I was trying to get into with him, and trying to explain me and convince me why should people spend double to get a hardwood floors. And I think that he made
some really good points. And I think at the end of the day, it's all about preference. Like, where do you want to put your money, and what is your use? I mean, correct. I think, a friend of mine who just built a lake house, they ended up putting LVPs in, and she said, for us it made more sense because we didn't have to worry about kids and dogs tracking in water and the water sitting on the floor and staining and sand and that type of thing. So I think it really does boil down to personal preference. But it was really neat to hear his insight on some of it.
I mean, I gotta be honest, I thought that hardwood was a dying element on new construction. I mean, you barely see it in new construction anymore. You know? The rise of LVP in the last 10 years. I mean, since I started real estate, it's noticeable. Both in quality, both in designs, colors. But hardwood has been the staple on flooring for 200
hundreds of years.
Yeah. And the fact that you have people like Todd that they can come in and make it look like new, or even change your colors. I didn't know. I didn't know that you can change your color that easily on hardwoods. I thought that you were very limited on it, but that's an eye opening in there. And
good way to kick off the year with new knowledge.
Yeah, and that's what we're here for. Information. We're here we're here to learn and share that learning with everybody that listens to.
That's right.
That's it. 30 minutes on the notes.
30 minutes.
Thank you for listening. And next episode is going to be very, very, very good. We have a surprise.
It's always good.
All right. Bye. Have a great week.
Bye.